Hi everyone, today we are going to talk about our last type of phrase, the infinitive phrase. An infinitive is going to be a verb form, meaning that it has a verb in it. It's going to start with the word to and then have a verb, but it is not going to be acting like a verb. It's going to be modifying like an adjective or an adverb, or it's going to be used as a noun in place of some noun in the sentence. The infinitive is going to have complements, modifiers, all those kinds of things, so we're going to have to diagram them as well. The nice thing about infinitives that act as adjectives and adverbs is that we diagram them exactly the same way that we diagram prepositional phrases. So in the first example, the club appreciated Paul's offer to serve as treasurer. To serve as treasurer is an infinitive. The verb is serve, and it's telling us what kind of offer we're talking about, which means that it is modifying offer, which is a noun, so it's acting like an adjective. So to diagram the rest of the sentence first, we're going to put club and appreciated as our main subject and verb. Put the underneath of club, and then the thing that's being appreciated is the offer, so that's the direct object. Paul is telling us which offer, and then this infinitive we're going to put under offer as well because it's describing the offer. To is going to go in the same place as the preposition. It is a preposition, but rather than being a prepositional phrase, since this is an infinitive, we're going to put the verb serve on the line, where in prepositional phrases you put the object of the preposition. Notice that there's still a little tail coming down off, just like with prepositional phrases. As treasure is another prepositional phrase that's going to come off of serve, so I'm going to diagram that one as all prepositional phrases are diagrammed. So why don't you pause the video and try this next one. Members voted to accept his offer. All right, for this one, you have the infinitive to accept his offer, where accept is the verb. It is modifying the voting that's happening. It's telling us how the members are voting. Voting is a verb, which means this infinitive is acting like an adverb. To diagram the sentence, we diagram members voted as our main subject and verb. And then to accept his offer, the infinitive is going to come underneath of voted. To goes on the diagonal. Accepted goes on the horizontal line. His offer is going to be a direct object. So the thing that's being accepted is the offer. So it goes in a direct object location with his coming underneath as a modifier. Now, when we use infinitive phrases as nouns, we're going to diagram them in a similar way to prepositional phrases, but there is a difference because these are not acting like adjectives and adverbs like prepositional phrases do. When we diagram a infinitive phrase, we are going to put it up on a stilt, though the shape of the lines themselves on the stilt are going to be the same as a prepositional phrase. So let's look at an example. The prepositional phrase to win the class presidency is acting like the subject of the sentence. It is LaToya's greatest ambition. Win is the verb of the infinitive. So before I do any of the infinitive, I'm just going to draw some space. I'm going to leave space in my subject because that is where we're going to put the infinitive. I'm going to go ahead and diagram the rest of it. Is our verb. Ambition is the complement, so that's a diagonal line after my linking verb is, where I put ambition following it. Then LaToya's and greatest are both going to come on the diagonal since they are modifiers. All right, so now for the infinitive. As I said, I'm going to put a stilt very similar to the stilt that you use for gerunds, but instead of doing the step like we do for gerunds, you are going to draw a straight line with a diagonal, just like the prepositional phrases. We're going to put to on that diagonal. Notice again, it still has a tail. When goes on the horizontal line, and then I diagram the rest as if it were the rest of this phrase. So I have a direct object. The thing that's being won is the presidency. The and class, both are describing the presidency itself. So notice with infinitives, you have the ones that are working as nouns on a stilt, but this line that the infinitive is on is still very similar to the adjective and adverb infinitive diagrams. They're just raised up in the position of the noun, in this case as the subject of the sentence. All right, so I'd like for you to pause the video and try this next one. For this one, she expects to campaign vigorously. To campaign vigorously is the infinitive. It is acting as a direct object here. It's the thing that is being expected, so it's going to be diagrammed like a direct object. I'm going to go ahead and diagram my subject and verb. She expects. Then I'm going to draw my line for my direct object, but instead of writing something on this line, I'm going to draw a stilt. And on top of that stilt, I'm going to put the diagram for the infinitive. To goes on the diagonal, campaign goes on the horizontal, since that's the verb of the infinitive, and then vigorously is describing how the campaigning is happening. That means it's an adverb, so it's going to go underneath. All right, now there are two more practice problems that I would like for you to diagram, and we will talk about them in class. Pay careful attention to whether the infinitive is acting as an adverb, an adjective, or a noun, and diagram it accordingly.